Hey guys, and welcome back to the briefing room. So, we are going to discuss the RWBY Volume 5 finale. And just so you know, right off the bat, I am a solid 0% at predicting what's going to happen in the season finales in videos. Because I haven't done a video about that yet. First of all, before we even bother starting, I need to address the fact that this will have spoilers for Chapter 13, which has not come out on YouTube yet, but is available for free for free users on roosterteeth.com. So you can watch it right now! So, we don't know how long the finale is going to be at this very moment that I'm recording this. But I think it's safe to say that we're not going to have resolutions for everything at the end of this volume. It's not going to wrap up nice and tidy and with a little bow on top. I think this volume will end on kind of in a weird spot where there's still things going on. And the reason for that is we still have the Blake / White Fang story going on. We still have the lobby fight. We still have Raven. We still have Yang. We still have Cinder. More on that later. And we still have the Relic, as well as all of the character moments and developments that have been started. And there's just, I'm not saying it's impossible, but it's highly unlikely given how many things would need to wrap up in just one episode. Originally, my thinking was that all of the schools are going to fall, all of the CTT towers were going to be destroyed, all of the artifacts were going to be obtained, and then by Salem's group, and then our heroes would have to work their way uphill, fighting an uphill battle to eventually come out victorious. And for a good little bit of this volume, that did seem to be the case. But I don't know that that's going to happen now. I mean, the White Fang are currently surrounded by Blake and her Faunus army, and the Mistral authorities have spotlights on them, so that there's really no escape for any of them. The tables have really turned in the lobby fight now. Now it's 7-on-4 with the numbers advantage going to our heroes. And in the lobby fight, you know, at the moment, Cinder's doing something. Cinderfall. And Vernal's dead. And it's just one-on-one between Yang and Raven, with Yang having the aura advantage. So, it's not... I don't see at this point how Haven will fall. I just don't see that happening now, that everything's gone the way it's gone. I've touched on it briefly, but I think one interesting thing about this particular volume is that it seems that the White Fang is finally coming to end. That whole story is finally coming to an end because, as I said before, they are surrounded by a Faunus army. Mistral authorities have spotlights on them. And Adam was just made the fool by Blake. And their bombs have been defused. I didn't even talk about that. Iliad defused all their bombs, so their effort to destroy the CCT tower and the school have failed. So there's still going to be patches of White Fang scattered throughout the show. But for the most part, that time is... It looks like it's gone. It looks like there's not going to be much to the White Fang story anymore, which 5 volumes in, that's not necessarily a bad thing. As epic as that maiden on maiden fight was, Cinder is not dead. And it's simply because Cinder is the key to Salem's victory. She said it herself in Volume 4. She holds the key to Salem's victory. And we know that Emerald owes no allegiance to Salem. She only owes allegiance to Cinder. And Cinder is... and she's the only other young woman in that group that we've seen. So Cinder has to be alive still. That's the only way for things to continue. Another reason why Salem could be Cinder is still alive is because Cinder took some of Raven's Spring Maiden powers. Now, we know that Raven's aura is depleted, and we know that Cinder has some of her power. She started taking it when she grabbed her with the Grim Arm. We saw the power start to transfer. We also know from Volume 3, the only other time that it's happened, when Amber died, her power went to Cinder because her power wanted to be complete. And the same could possibly happen to Raven, because as far as we're aware right now, and even Crow touched upon it in Volume 3 when they were in that situation, they didn't know how the Maiden power was going to react to being split. And it seems that it wants to go to its other half. It wants to be a complete power. So, Cinder, I think, is still alive. Speaking of Raven, that was the toughest part of me going through trying to predict what's going to happen in the finale, is the whole Yang-Raven interaction, because we know that Yang dropped down just as Raven was about to take the artifact. Now, Raven's much more skilled and much more experienced than Yang, but she also knows that her aura is depleted, and she's too smart to not to fight Yang with no aura. And I personally think that based on some of her interactions, I still think that she kind of wants Yang to be in the tribe, especially now that Vernell's dead. She needs someone that's an experienced fighter to be in that group, because let's face it, that tribe is useless when it comes to fighting huntsmen and huntresses. So that's tough. It's tough, but I think that's the way it's going to go from there. And speaking of where things go, even if things keep going the way they're going, which is overly positive, where the authorities apprehend the White Fang and you know, and Salem's group leaves, you know, and all is fine and dandy. They have no physical evidence that Lionheart misused his power. They have no physical evidence that he was doing anything wrong other than he was fighting them. But you could argue that they attacked him. So it's a strange predicament where, because they have no evidence, Lionheart could still remain in power after all of these events have transpired, because there's nothing against him. So Salem and her groups could still have a in within one of the governments. Speaking of which, Salem's group is currently totally unknown to the Mistral authorities, who are just outside. The Mistral authorities were contacted by Blake and her parents to be informed about the White Fang activity. There was nothing, as far as we're aware, there's nothing in Ilya's phone to suggest that they know about the other section, the Salem and her group. We just don't know anything about that. So, yeah, it's, I think that Salem's group, since they're unknown to everybody, through some sort of story means, they're going to escape unnoticed. So I've kind of discussed all my points and everything, so here's the summary of what I think is going to happen. The White Fang is going to be apprehended. The White Fang is losing is fighting a losing battle. Adam just got whooped up on. They are fighting an army with police airships shining lights down on them. They're either going to die or they're going to get arrested. Those are their two options. And then in the lobby, I believe it'll be Mercury and RWBY. RWBY still has a bone to pick with Mercury after the whole sister thing and the whole encounter in the hallway while she was trying to get Tapira to stop the match in Volume 3. So she still has a bit of a bone to pick with him. So I believe she will be facing off against him. Against Emerald was a little bit tougher, but I'm going to stick with Team RWBY, and I'm going to say that Weiss will be taking on Emerald in the lobby. And then I have Crow and Rin taking on Lionheart, and Jean, Nora, and Oscar Ozpin taking on Hazel. The results of the fights, I can't say. I'm just guessing who's going to fight who. In the finale, there's going to be a big, epic fight as far as that is concerned, because I don't see I don't see a fight between Raven and Yang, and like I said, there's not much of a fight between the White Fang and the Faunus army. That the fight would not be how I would describe that based on how it looks right now. So that's going to be the main fighting scene of the finale, will be the lobby. They'll be finishing up the lobby fight. And that's who I believe will be fighting who in that fight. As I said before, I think Raven is going to try to buy herself some time while still trying to get Yang to join the tribe. She's going to try to talk to Yang, try to avoid fighting, because she has no aura. She's going to take whatever damage she gets. So she's going to try to talk to Yang, try to talk her down, try to convince her to join, maybe talk about a little bit more about Ozpin, maybe talk a little bit more about the artifacts and show her the artifact. But at the end of the day, as I said before, part of her power has already been taken, and she has no aura. Cinder is going to sneak up on them while they're discussing something, and Cinder's going to disable Yang, whether it be by freezing or whatever she does. And then she's going to kill Raven, get the Spring Maiden power, grab the artifact, and leave. And I believe that that when she leaves and her group leaves, the volume will end on RWBY and our heroes picking up the pieces and possibly even having to answer for what has been going on. So, that is what I believe is going to happen with RWBY Volume 5 in the finale. Let me know what you guys think down below in the comments. Like, subscribe, do whatever you like. And I will talk to you guys later.